Hi, welcome to this streaming video. Hi, I'm Brad Houck. Welcome to this streaming training. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how you can sell or give away hundreds of thousands of copies of your books, build a lifestyle business that you can enjoy, and also help people all over the world with your non-fiction books. I'm going to help you become the author that you want to become, just like I did. But before we start, can I ask you something? I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes roughly teaching you my method of winning online. Now, I'm going to not hold anything back. I'm going to teach you all the steps that I use and have been using for a very long time to successfully help authors, businesses, speakers, people in all walks of life get ahead online. But at the end, I'd like to make an offer of help to you. Now, this is not going to be a sales pitch. I'm just going to offer my help to you to succeed in selling your books online. Is that okay? I hope that it is, because I really would like to help you succeed online. So let's get into this. As an author, the chances are that you've spent a lot of time, you've written your book, and you've had it published. Now, there's multiple ways of publishing these days, but probably one of the first things most authors do is actually get a printed copy done. So either they self-publish through a company or they use Amazon CreateSpace, which is a nice easy way to get a book printed on demand. That way you don't have to have millions of copies. But that said, I know plenty of authors who have written their first non-fiction book. It's gone to the publishers, and the publisher sends them 1,000 books, or they order 1,000 books at home to sell. Discussing it with people, I found out pretty quickly that most of them have almost 900 of them left. It seems that the average number is about 100 moved, and the rest are still sitting in the garage. And I've heard this story throughout my life. With marketing, there's all sorts of different things that people have ordered bulk of, like courses or CDs or DVDs, and they end up with the majority of them going to landfill. So it's a real problem. You've paid a lot of money for these books. You know, if you're lucky, you might have got them for $5 a copy, but still, if you got 1,000 sitting there, that's $5,000 worth of books sitting still in your garage. Or if you like to look at it in real terms, you've got to sell them. So if you're looking at selling them at $30, you know, that's a considerable amount more money just sitting there. And the hardest thing is you've got to shift them. Once you've sold to your friends and family and the people who know you and some business contacts, generally that's your first 100 gone. So we're left with this big pile of books. The second thing is a lot of people these days publish direct to Kindle. And so we go straight into Amazon and the other bookstores online, which means realistically we have an unlimited supply of books to sell. Not just 1,000 copies, but unlimited copies, which is really, really ridiculous. The interesting thing here is that Amazon has actually done some studies, as has many different publishers along the way, and the average number of books that an author sells is 250 copies. Now that's not daily, weekly, monthly, that is lifetime. So you spend a lot of time building a book and doing all the work that's involved in that, and you end up selling 250 copies. Now, if you were to work it out, and you've got 250 copies at $25 profit per book, divided by say 600 hours, it really comes down to about $10 an hour you've been working for. So all that work for $10 an hour. Now remember, this isn't working on like you're going to sell more copies over the rest of your life. This is the 250 copies that most people sell ever. That's not a lot of money per hour. So I want to help you get rid of all those extra books and sell more again. So let's learn how to sell the first 1,000 books, and then you can repeat the process and keep selling your books. For those who don't know me, which I suspect is most people, my name is Brad Houck. I'm an entrepreneur, former teacher, and author. I started out writing books in about 1994 for teachers to help them use computers in their classrooms. Because back in those days, most teachers didn't actually know how to use a computer at all, like as in they didn't even know what a mouse was. And, you know, things have changed a lot over the years, but, you know, that's what it was like then. So I wrote books and I sold them through an educational publisher. Now, these days I write books and I also speak, and I have a company that helps businesses succeed online. I've worked in the area of SEO for many years because I actually ended up doing my master's thesis on how people search online. So I have a pretty good understanding of how search engines work and how to make them work for us. Now, I've written quite a few books throughout my life. In fact, a surprising number when I look back. If you ever look there, you see that old black and white picture. That was one of my first books. It was actually a blackline master book, meaning that teachers would take that and photocopy it and use it in their classroom directly. So even if they couldn't use a computer, they could photocopy it and read the words, and the kids could follow them. I went on to produce a whole range of other books, and my personal, book that I sell is the $1 Billion Blueprint. But I'm in the process of also updating that. It's a good book, but it's time to make some little subtle changes to that, as is anything with tech. My lesson plans book, 60 lesson plans for computer lesson plans for retired teachers. I've sold well over between 10 and 50,000 copies of that book at least online. So that book was then followed by another book called Another 60 Lesson Plans, which sold equally as well, and a range of other books on how to use Microsoft Office, etc. in the classroom. And the last little book you'll see there is The Unofficial Guide to Minecraft, which was written by my daughter. So we've continued on the family tradition with writing, because writing's a fun thing to do when you're a writer. And if you want to teach people stuff, writing a book is a great place to start, because it can allow you to build a massive business just off the topic of your non-fiction. But look, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You're a non-fiction author. You understand that a book is, part of an ecosystem of making money. But it also can be your main source of income. And for many years, writing and selling books directly over the internet to people, not through Amazon, because Amazon didn't exist, has and is one of my mainstream of income. It allowed me to quit my job as a teacher. So the biggest problem I see with people selling online and moving more books than they currently are is that they really have no idea where to start. There's so much information out there, it's really quite difficult to pick a starting point. And that can be really, really frustrating. And look, we've all been there. When I first started online, literally the text was black, the pages were plain grey, and the links were blue, and we couldn't even put a picture up. So I've grown with the web. I had to build my own first website. I had to learn how to make one. I think I used Microsoft Publisher. It's going back so far. But the point is that I persisted and I learned as I went. So everything I'm going to teach you here is based in actual real-world use. And since I sold that first book, I've gone on to build a big SEO company, which I sold, and do numerous other things. So these are the steps that I use on an ongoing basis. Now, you have to understand there is no single quick method of selling your books online. This is my method, but everything requires work. You don't just do one thing and you'll sell the books. You don't just learn one little tweak that you can do at Amazon to sell more books. It's a constant process of work. So if you're joining me thinking, this will be a simple way to make more money, well, yes, it is simple, but it will require you to do some work. Okay? Nothing in this world comes easy, and especially in business. If you want to sell more books, it's going to require work on your part. But look, hey, you've written a book, so I know that you're capable of work, and I certainly know that you're fully capable of doing what I'm about to teach you. So online marketing to most people looks like this. A series of doorways you come in, and then there's stairs everywhere. You don't know whether to go up, to go down, to go left, to go right. It's quite out of control. There's heaps of people running around saying they're gurus, and I will not say I'm a guru. Okay, what I'm teaching you is what I've done. And I know it works. There's nothing fancy in it. I've been doing it for 20 years. I've used it on small local businesses. I've used it for professional speakers. I've used it for multinational companies. Nothing has changed. This method is pretty reliable, in my opinion, and my knowledge that works every time. What I've done is broken it down into a very simple 5-step formula that you can repeat. So I call it the vs5, Virtual Success 5-Step Framework, that you can use in your business. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're selling books, cars, dogs, training, it's irrelevant. This formula works in all industries. I know, I've tried it. Okay, I'm going to run through my 5 steps quickly, and then I'm going to go into them in depth. The first one is you need to focus. Biggest problem people have online is they do not focus in on the audience they're trying to reach and how that audience will find them. So they don't understand the keywords people use, they don't understand anything about their audience. They just put a website up and they put all sorts of information on that website of a generalistic nature around the topic that their book is written on. So what we need to do first of all is focus in really, really tightly. So we need to niche down. And this is super important. You've probably heard this before. You need to find a niche. Look, I cannot impress on you. Online, it doesn't get any more important than this. And I will tell you that until you get this right, you will not succeed online. You might make some sales, you might make some headway, but if you really want to make a go of this, you need to get this step right first. And it's not hard. It's actually a lot more easy. The hard bit is making sure you stay focused. Second step, we need to attract people to our website. Now, in my framework, I always use a website. The reason being that we own that platform. Facebook can change the rules. Instagram can change the rules. Your website, you own, you run, you can do what you like with. So we always attract everybody back to our website because we have control of the platform. Now, I'm going to also focus on using Google. Why? Because Google is where the most people are. Google owns YouTube, Google owns the search engine. All of those places are places that people go to search for information. You can use Facebook as well to attract traffic. You can use Instagram as well. But realistically, you know as well as I do, when you have a problem, 90 times out of 100, if not higher, you will go to Google to search for an answer. And that is what the rest of the world is doing too. So we need to attract people from Google to our website. Third, we need to engage with those people. So we need to make sure that we connect with them. We need to build trust with them. We need to make sure that they feel comfortable making a purchase from us, that they feel that we're an expert. So we need to engage with our audience because, as you know, you can go to a website today and then try and go back to it tomorrow and you just won't be able to find it. It's like they just disappear into thin air. For some reason, the search engine results have reshuffled or something, but you can't find that site again. So unless we take the opportunity to engage with them the first time they're on the website and start to build that trust, we could lose that sale forever. Step 4, we need to convert. So once we've built some trust and we've engaged with that audience, we need to convert them into sales. And this is the step where we actually make the sale. This is where people purchase from us. So let's look at how to actually make our books sell better. And in this section, we're going to look at sales copy, etc. Because, man, some book descriptions are absolutely atrocious. There's no way you'd buy them based on what the author's written about them. And lastly, step 5, and probably one of the most important going forward as you build your business, you need to educate people. So this means you've got people who have come to your site, you've engaged with them, you've sold them a book. You now need to take them on the next step of the journey, and this is where we curate information, we continue to build our expertise in the eyes of the reader, and we offer them other opportunities as we go forward to buy from us. It might be other books, it might be training programs, it could be apps. It doesn't matter what it is. The point is we continue to build the relationship with people who have bought from us before, or even people who haven't bought. They can also fall into this area. And this is where we build the bulk of our money. So that's it. Very straightforward. What I'm going to do now that you've seen the basic framework, and as I said, it's very simple, there's nothing confusing about it, is I'm going to go through each one of those steps, and I've divided them into 3 sub-steps. The main reason being that those 3 sub-steps make everything come together nice and easily without being so generalistic as I've been so far. So 5 steps, so let's get started. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about is our market. When we're talking to our market, when we're reaching out to our audience, we need to understand the purpose of our audience and what their motivation is. And this is really, really important. What we found is most people fall into one of 3 categories when it comes to purchasing. They purchase to increase wealth or money growth, they do it for personal development or love, or wellness and health. Now, if you like to look at those in terms of real topics, wealth and money could be things like grow a business, make more sales, buying and selling stocks, all those sorts of topics about making more money. The second one, personal development and love. There's a lot of stuff that falls into personal development. It could be cabinet making, basically you're developing your skills. It could be leadership. It could be building better relationships with your partner. All those sorts of topics I actually find fall into personal development. Now, some people might argue with me, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But for me, that's where it is. You're developing the personal skills or techniques that they use to do something. So building a boat, I would put into that category, funnily enough. And lastly, wellness and health. Wellness and health is the area to do with vitamins, yoga, hospitals, anything to do with living longer, living healthier, making a better go of your life. So have a think about your topic. I don't know what your book is actually on, but I'm pretty sure that if you think about it, it'll fall in one of those three areas. Now, that actually helps you when you're talking to your clients or potential readers and buyers. I use the word client loosely, okay? It's just a habit because I have clients as well. Those people are buying your book to do something. So, the language you use is very important as we go forward. So, step one, let's look at focus. This is where most people fail to get ahead online. They scan over this, they move too quickly through it, and they get no traction. The first step is we need to choose a specific, tight niche. Now, that's pretty straightforward. That means to narrow down your niche. If we were to pick a topic like leadership, leadership itself is a very general topic. If we were to say motivational leadership is a little bit more specific. But if we were to say motivational leadership for women, we're now getting specific to an audience. We've got rid of males out of the discussion, which means when we write content, we can write directly to women. We can talk about things that women understand that maybe men don't see the same way, etc. So by doing that, we actually appeal to our audience more effectively, and it also allows us to be more easily found on the search engines. To understand the search engines, and this is a really key thing, the search engines are really like a big library. We like to think we can go there, type an answer in and get something back instantly, and we're not actually going through a directory or digging down like we would in a real library. But at the back end is a massive, big mathematical algorithm. And when you think about the results you get, you start to realize that, in fact, it's really just a version of the Dewey Decimal System. The search engines like to classify you and your website based on the content that you've got there. So to help them classify you, what they do is they work on a similar system to the Dewey Decimal System. So let's say that business books are 600s. In the 600 section, there's a lot of books, and somewhere in there is the leadership books. We find out actually that 640 is leadership. Oh, great. Okay, so 640 is leadership, but you're in motivational leadership. So 640 is still too general. So we look up on the catalogue and we find out that 641 is motivational leadership. So now you've narrowed down. So if we went into a library, we could go to the 641 section, which is really quite a specific section, and we could look at those books. But there might be thousands and thousands and thousands of books on motivational leadership. How do we find you in all those thousands of books? Well, the Dewey Decimal System goes down smaller than that, and it goes down to smaller sections. So you might be 641.56, and that is motivational leadership for women. The search engines have basically turned that into an algorithm, and they spit out websites that match that. So when you put your keywords in that you're searching for, it spits out an answer. So by defining where you actually fit by the keywords you use, that helps the search engines decide whether you're the best answer when someone asks a question about the topic that you've written your book in. So the best way to look at this is we actually need to turn this upside down. We start out with a very, very wide range of topics. So this is business at the top, lots and lots of topics, and then we come into leadership, it starts to get a little bit thinner, and then we come into motivational leadership, it gets thinner again, until finally we have motivational leadership for women. The key here is that we are now in a very tight niche. All our content on our website around our book will be about motivational leadership for women. And it might be motivational leadership for women in small business, even tighter niche. But you can start off around that level. It's essential that you start out with these keywords, a main phrase like this. And in the next section, we're going to look at research into that. But it's really, really essential. And my advice to you is to take that keyword phrase, so motivational leadership for women, write it on a piece of paper and stick it right next to you on your desk, so that when you go to write something, you see it every single time. You make sure you write to that group, because that's where people make a mistake. They water down their content. So they've got articles on motivational leadership for women, and then they put one in motivational leadership for men, and then they talk about leadership stress and leadership underwater, and all sorts of weird topics that actually have nothing to do with motivational leadership. Yes, it's been twisted to fit that, but it doesn't really fit in with the category. Leadership and stress is an entirely different category of sites. And I can tell you from experience that that is a specific site, and you need all the content on there to be about stress and stress management. If you start talking about motivational leadership on there, you'll affect how that site ranks. So don't get pulled all over the place. You need to narrow down to a tight niche and stick to it. You cannot jump all over the place. Okay, the second step is we need to build a big list of keywords and phrases that use those keywords. So there's tools like this one, keyword tool, that we can use for free, or we can pay to get proper access to it. Another one that I like to use is called Keyword Researcher. It's a Windows tool that you can use, and it'll bring back a whole pile of phrases that people are using in that area. So if we were to put leadership in here, we would get a whole pile of words back. If we would put motivational leadership in here, we'd get a different range of phrases back. What we want to do is copy and paste them all into a big spreadsheet and keep them all. We want to get as many as we can, because we're going to use those to become content on our website. They're going to be the titles of articles. They're going to be the words we use in our videos, in our different videos we do, all the different content, our social media. We're going to use these keywords because we want the search engines to know that everything on our site is about this topic. So when someone looks for motivational leadership for women, we show up as number one, and that will get people to come to our site because we're the number one resource. If we're not number one, that's fine, but number one is always good. Okay, so we're going to go through and use these tools and put words like how motivational leadership women, why motivational leadership women, what, who, when. Okay, those words will bring back questions that people are asking about motivational leadership for women. Now, you don't have to put women in there. You can just put motivational leadership, and then you might get a big list of things about motivational leadership, and all you've got to do then is add women to those topics to make it fit your audience. So you're going to build a big list, and this is super, super important. The bigger, the better, because it's going to stand you in good stead going forward. Once we've got our list, we then need to look at our website, and we need to apply the basic principles of search engine optimization. And in essence, there's lots of resources on how to do SEO online, but what we're basically doing is making sure that the titles on our page and the descriptions contain the keyword we want to rank up for. So the article titles, so your blog posts, if you like to look at it that way, I call them articles because I think they are articles rather than blogging. Blogging for me is something that you do from a lifestyle perspective, such as a travel blog or something like that. We need to use these. So our homepage will have, motivational leadership for women in the 21st century or something as the title. And then in the description, need help with motivational leadership for women, and off you go. So you're using that key phrase in both the title and the description. And any basic SEO course will teach you that. And certainly I will talk about that later on. But that needs to be done on every single page and every single article, post, every video you do, everything needs to make sure that you use your keyword phrases in it. It's absolutely essential because Google's going to come to your website and they're going to look at the homepage and you're going to say, oh, the homepage says it's about motivational leadership for women. And the description says that. What's on the page? So then it reads all the text on the page and says, oh, yet that's about motivational leadership for women. But what else is in the site? So then it goes through the whole site and it looks at all the pages. Now, if your site has articles on stress release and running and doing all these other things, Google's going to say, well, hang on. The homepage said it was about motivational leadership for women, but this page is talking about going for a run, and that page is talking about how you went on for a holiday, and that has nothing to do with the topic. So they're going to mark you down essentially through their algorithm, and that's going to stop you ranking high. And when you don't rank high, you don't get traffic, so you don't make sales. So it's important that you do apply these basic principles. It's not complicated. It's pretty straightforward. As I said, the titles, the articles, and the contents of your page should be directly related to your keyword phrase. Okay, so that is the first 3 subsets, or step 1, which was to focus. If you don't get that right, everything else you do will be sitting there waiting until you get it right, because until you get that right, you won't show up in the search engines. So therefore, there'll be no traffic to attract. Okay, so we need to attract traffic. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the real work starts, but this is where you as authors have a distinct advantage because Google loves text. It doesn't mind everything else, but it loves text more than anything else in the world. The best websites in the world have text, and that's it. They will rank the heck out of sites that have fancy videos and all sorts of stuff. They will beat them every time because Google loves text. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is build a content plan because we need to keep publishing fresh information as we go forward. It would be nice to put out an article a week. It's not always possible, but at least try to get one every 2 weeks. And when you're first starting out, if you can get a couple of extras done, that would be good because you want to get some content in there quickly, and then after that continue to build it. Google is always looking for fresh content that contains the answers to questions that people are searching the search engine for. So take a diary and lay out some of those keywords that you put together in that big list, turn them into sentences or questions that you can then write articles about, because you're going to write those articles and you're going to put them on your website, and then Google's going to come and index them. And as you use more and more of those keyword phrases, you will show up for a wider and wider range of searches. So we need to build a content plan. The second thing we need to do is we need to write 10 to 20, 1,000 to 2,000 at least, word high quality articles. Now why do I say this? Because we need some really good, solid content. It used to be we could put 200 word articles in our websites and Google loved that, and that would rank and bring traffic. But Google's realized that a lot of that content was really spammy. So now what they're looking for is good quality articles. So, 10 ways to fix the corking on your boat, okay? Why, outboard motors are better than inboard motors on wooden boats. Okay, it just depends. You're looking for good quality, in-depth sort of writing here. And the best way to actually come up with these 10 is have a look at the 10 most popular searches based on questions. So the who, why, where, what, and how searches that people have been using about your topic. And then use those that phrase, that question, in an article. So, if it's why does this happen, write the article, 7 reasons why such and such happens. Okay, you need these content, and it's really essential to get these done as soon as possible. And then you can drop back to, 1 big article a month and 3 or 4 small ones. It's up to you. But content really is king. Content is what attracts search engines because the text content contains the words that people are searching for. So therefore, Google is looking to do this. This is where the traffic is. This is where the money is. As I said, you don't need to be writing every single day. You just need to get some of these main articles in there. So if over 12 months you wrote 12 1,000 to 2,000 word articles. That would be fantastic. You're going to see the effects of that. If you do it over 6 months, you're going to see the effects much quicker. But of course, I understand life gets in the road, so we need to focus. Sometimes that means, especially for a writer, sitting down for 1 day a week and writing a big, solid article. Remember, you're trying to sell more of your book. You've got your book done. What you need to do now is build all this collateral around your book to attract people in so that they can buy it. Okay, once you've written them, you need to use the basic SEO principles again. So when you put it on your website, do the title, do the description tags, etc. And then you need to post them to your social media, share them, and you can also repurpose those articles. Now, some people would say to me, writing a 1,000 to 2,000 word article is actually really, really hard work. But if I write down 10 bullet points, I can speak that to a video. Is that okay? Well, I'd say, yes, it's okay, but then you need to get it transcribed because you need the actual text part for your website. So shoot the video, get it transcribed, edit it up into an article, put it on your website, add the video at the top. Hey presto. So we've got some repurposing there. If you prefer to write, you might write and then get it recorded as a video or as an audio, or take short sections. If you've got 10 points, turn them into 10 little social media posts with an image and that point on the top of it. Okay, so take that content and reuse it. So the advantage is here that you're creating one article and then repurposing it to use it multiple times. So throughout a whole week, the only thing you have to do is write one good article. The rest of the week is you're just using that to feed the rest of everything else you're doing. So nice and simple, and even better, I mean, you can take that article and turn it into a podcast if you're a podcaster. So that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Okay, step 3, we need to engage our audience. The fact of the matter is, people come to your website, they might be there for 5 seconds, they might be there for 5 minutes. Chances are they may never, ever, ever come back again, and that is really bad for business. Okay, it's not just because they don't want to, it's just life is busy. So what we need to do is we need to capture those people into an email list. Now before you say, oh no, an email list, I have seen businesses sell for $500,000 and a lot more just for the list of people that they have on their email list. Okay, an email list is a way to be able to reach people directly at their computer. Social media, they change the algorithms, you only see a small part of that. You've got to pay for advertising if you want your post to show up, or you've got to do a paid post to actually make an ad and get to show up. So email is still the most effective way to reach people at their phone, at their computer. So the first step is we need to produce an irresistible lead magnet, and that is something that people who are interested in your topic can't help but download. They're going to want it anyway. Now, most people are searching for topics that are generally pretty hot to buy right at that time, as in they're really quite interested in that topic, and they're going to be that way for 4 weeks to a month probably, and 4 weeks to 2 months. But then they're going to start to cool off because we go through cycles of learning where we're interested in really in a topic. Some will stay fans of forever, some will move on through. So we have a relatively short phase. So we're going to be hot for information. So we produce an e-magnet like it might be, the 5 things that 90% of the population do wrong when it comes to motivating their people at work. It's like, it can be really, really light to read. It can be really quick to read. The point is that the title has to be catchy so that people want to download it. Whether it's big or small, they want to read it just to find out. In fact, often it's really good to keep it relatively short. The 10-point checklist that will help you become a better leader in less than 48 hours. It's just a checklist. They just go through and they go, yep, I do that every day. Yep, I do that every day. Yep, I do that every day. They put it on their wall. Now, that's not even writing a whole ebook. So we need to create an irresistible lead magnet, and then we need to set that up on our site to be captured by email marketing software. Something like MailChimp. MailChimp integrates into almost every website these days. You've got plugins for WordPress and Weebly and all sorts of sites. And it's free for up to 1,000 people on your list, or 2,000 people depending on which plan you got on. So it will actually handle the capture of the email and putting them onto a list for you and do all of that for you for no cost to start off with. So nice and easy. Second thing we need to do is automate the process. So we've talked about MailChimp, but what we need to do now is make sure we set up a series of follow-up emails. And this is where we begin the trust building process. This is really, really essential. I can tell you, when I first started selling my lesson plans books online, I actually was keeping really quite good numbers on this, and I found that on average, 1 in 1,000 people came to the site would buy a book because they didn't know me from anybody else, a bit like you don't know me. But if I had a special offer there, people would get involved to get that special offer. So the special offer I had that I found worked really well in my case was tip a day, so a daily tip for teachers with a teaching tool. So every day an email would go out with a link to a website or a teaching tool online that people could read quickly and then flick over and have a look at. So it wasn't involved, wasn't heavy, was easy to accept. Well, what I found was by making the offer of the daily teaching tip, people would sign up for that. The majority of people came to the site would sign up for it because there was no cost involved, and if they didn't like it, they could always unsubscribe. But the trick was that for 10 days they would get some great starts out of me, and then on the 10th day I would give them a site and I would make them an offer for my book, and I would give them a 10% discount or a 20% discount, whatever it was at the time. But I found from going from 1 out of 1,000 people buying, that when that email went out, 11% of people who bought the book, 11% of people who got the email bought the book. So that is a massive difference. That's 100,000% increase. That's ridiculous. But that's the difference it made. I built a little bit of trust by showing them that I knew what good resources are, that I might know what I'm talking about. So the automated content that we send out once we set up the automation is a series of, say, 5 emails. One might go out the next day after they sign up. So one straight away, one the next day, one 2 days later, one 3 days later after that. So, and just one 5 days later after that. So you're spacing them out a little bit. It might be 5 really, short, punchy pieces of information about how to do what it is your book's all about, your expertise, that they can apply straight away. Remember, this is about building trust. This is about setting you up as the expert, and it's got to be easy for them to see a result from whatever it is you send them. So the daily tip, they click the link, and they go in there and they go, oh, this is fantastic, or oh yeah, I'll store that away. That could be really good. It straight away had an effect on them, so it worked really well for me. You could also just do 5 short videos, and you could have a link to the video in the email, because you can't put emails into a video. So you can put a picture of it. Can't put a video into an email, but you can put a picture of the video in the email with a link underneath that people can click to go and watch it. They're nice, short and sweet, less than 2 minutes. Hey presto, they get to see you, they get to feel you, they get to understand your expertise. Nice and simple. So we're building trust here, and that is going to pay off. As I said to you, my conversion ratios from doing that, and I've done this many times since, went through the roof. So we've captured them, we've sent them some information, we've given them a lead magnet that's great information as well. We've built some trust there. They know us a little better. The next thing we need to do is convert them. Okay, it's time to make the sale. Now, some people, as I said before, will buy directly from your site. Some people will need to be put through this trust process where you build the trust. Either way, this next session convert applies to both people, because it's the actual sales process on our website. The first thing we need to do is actually write a good sales page. Most authors write really awful sales pages because all they do is write a very bland description about the content of the book. And that's not going to sell the book for someone who doesn't know you and doesn't know your book. Okay? What you need is a little bit of a proper sales page, and there's plenty of sales templates out there, sales page templates. Just take one and apply it. And that's what I did the first time. But the key elements here is you talk about the problem that they're having. Okay? Then you talk about how your book solves those problems. So we're not talking about the features. In this book I'm going to discuss how to, clean outboard motors. I'm going to show you how to varnish the deck. No, you talk about the benefits of what you teach in the book. going to show you how to clean the outboard motor so that rust doesn't set in, so it doesn't cost you a new outboard motor every 2 years. I'm going to show you the special way to put a weight on there so that the stops cavitation, which includes, increases the speed of your boat, etc., etc. We're looking for benefits, not features. People buy benefits. The other thing is we need to think about emotion, because people don't buy because it's practical. People buy emotionally. They buy because it's going to make them feel better. It's going to make them look better. It's going to make, them somebody special or help them achieve something special. So remember, we're looking at the emotional effects of using the book. Imagine being out on the bay in your boat, zooming past all those other people, looking $1 million, all those sorts of things. That's emotion. So writing a little sales page will drastically increase the sale of your book, because it actually gets the person involved in the sales process. Whereas having a very boring short description, a lot like what Amazon makes you do a lot of the time, doesn't help sell books. It actually makes it much more difficult. The other thing is you need to make sure you've got a special offer on there. So make sure that, if your book is normally $29, you might say that it's, normally $39, get it at, $10 off. Okay. Or it may be that you normally have it at $29, you make it $25 if they buy from you directly, because you're saving having to ship it or something. But have a look at making a special offer with that book. Now, in the next section, I'm actually going to talk about how to make that special offer better. Okay, the real key to making a really great offer is actually to bonus it up. So rather than discounting your book, most people, that I've seen online tend to actually put a higher price on their book and offer a discount, which is really the real price. It's not the best technique, but it's very commonly seen. The best way to do it is actually to bonus up. So that means to add extra things. If they buy from you now, they get these extra things. And the best way to do that is to supply them as electronic files. So they get, if they buy your book on how to make their boat run faster, they get the checklist that they can use each time when they come back or just before they go out to make sure that everything's ready. So there's 2 checklists. They get the quick start guide. So, the really short version of your book, you might take all the main points and put them in a quick start guide. I've actually seen someone who sells their book and then they give you a free audio book, but it's only 15 minutes long. They say, if you don't have time to read our book, just listen to this and you'll get all the main points. Now that's really clever because they're selling the book, but 90% of people are probably going to listen to the audio file. It doesn't matter if they don't read the book straight away. In fact, it doesn't matter if they don't read the book, because from your perspective, they bought the book, but also by listening to the audio, they've learnt stuff. So they're still going to see you as the expert in that area. So it's kind of a win-win situation. You can also offer all sorts of things with that. It might be, a free video course that they can watch to go with the book that helps demonstrate some of the purposes. That's only a matter of recording it and, putting it up on the web. All those things can be bonused up and included in the book, because in the end, being electronic, there's no great cost to you. It's only a small cost, and if it moves more books, then that's a fantastic thing. But all those things also build your expertise in their eyes, which means they will continue to buy from you as we move into the 5th step, which is about educating and releasing new products. Once you've written your sales page and you've bonused up, you need to sell it. Sell, sell, sell. Keep pushing traffic towards it. Keep attracting traffic. Remember, we've got to keep writing those articles, producing that content, repurposing it. And then we need to track it. We need to see, using Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools, which are both free, where people are going on our site, which pages they're coming into, which pages they're buying from. Set some goals. So when they buy some from you, they go to a thank you page so you can track the goal. Then you can see which keyword brought that person, which pages they looked at your site, and then which when they bought, etc. So you can work out the value of getting people to your website. It also helps you see which articles are popular. If you find you've got one particular article that's very, very popular, you might be able to write a series of different articles around the same keyword phrase to attract even more traffic. So tracking is super, super important. The other thing is, without tracking, you won't know if you're actually getting any visitors. I've been to sites where the client has said, we're not making any sales, we're not getting any traffic. I've gone there and looked at their statistics, and they're actually getting like 1,000 visitors a day. It's just no one's buying because they're not selling properly. So it can work both ways. You can be carrying on and worrying about the fact that you're not selling a thing, and in fact you're getting lots and lots and lots of visitors. You just haven't done a good enough job selling the product. On the other hand, you could think you're getting lots and lots and lots of visitors, and you're not getting a single one. The only people who are coming to your site when you actually look at your statistics are the search bots. So they're not real people, they're the search algorithms, the little bots that go out and check sites. I find these days, I actually have seen many sites where they're getting 200-300 visitors a day, and then when I go in and look at the 200-300 visitors, I find out they're all just bots. Not a single one of them is a real person, because they're not ranking anywhere to get any real traffic. So tracking, super important. Shouldn't be tracking every day to start off with, once a week to have a look, or once a month. As you move forward and you start to get more traffic, then you can have a look a bit more often. But the one thing I would say to you is, don't make decisions based on traffic of the week or the day. Make decisions based on traffic over 3 months, 6 months, because traffic comes in cycles. So certain key phrases become popular at certain times of the year, depending on whether there's ads on television using those words, whether it's summer, winter, depending on whether it's, whether your topic's related to a particular time of year. For example, my teaching books were more popular just before school went back. Because why? Teachers were looking for resources. So the rest of the year, my traffic might have been, say, 100 visitors a day, whereas before school it was 1,000 visitors a day. Okay? These are key things you need to know. And over 12 months, 18 months, you'll start to see these cycles. As you go forward 2-3 years, you'll know the cycles. You'll know before Christmas, everything goes dead. Or before Easter, everything goes dead. Okay? It's just the way the web is. It's cyclic. Okay, step 5, educate. This is pretty straightforward, but absolutely essential to the ongoing success of your writing and your business, and whether you can make a living out of having a book. First thing is, you need to collect and curate images, articles, videos, and content to share with the people who are on your list and who follow you on social media. So this means you're going through and picking out things that you know are interesting and actually useful and sharing them. Most people don't have time to go and look this stuff up. And if they do, they might find one resource that might not be good. Whereas you being the expert in the area, you got your fingers and across the pulse, and you kind of know who the experts are and what's really happening out there in your field that you've written your non-fiction book about. So you're able to kind of, I suppose, sort the wheat from the chaff, take the good stuff and share it with them. Now, some people would say, well, that's not right. If I share someone else's work with them, they're going to go and buy off that person. Funnily enough, it doesn't work that way. What it does is actually set you up as the expert, because they're going to keep coming to you because you're collating all the information from all the different experts and making life easier for them. So in fact, it actually raises your level of expertise, makes you more the person in your field, which then means that they'll share your content, which brings more people who might buy your books. So don't try and do everything yourself. One of the things I've seen people do is try and write all the articles, do all the videos, do all that stuff themselves. That's really a mistake. It's really hard work. You need to keep producing your content, but by leveraging other people's content, you can actually build your position in the field online. As you're doing this and sending this information out, you're going to be connecting with people. So you're going to use your email to get it out. You're going to use your social media, and you're going to run things face-to-face, depending on what sort of business you do. A lot of people like to progress. People have brought their book into another level. So say, okay, I've written a book on, how to maintain your bicycle for optimum use on the racetrack. Well, that's a specific audience, but people read the book and they go, wow, I'd really like to learn more about that. Well, you could sell them a video course where you demonstrate each things in there. So that's another level. Book might be $29.95. The course might be $97. So now for every course you sell, you're going to make a lot more money. But you could offer a one-day workshop too, where you bring a group of athletes who are, racing bikes into a room and teach them, and it costs $300 or $400 for the day. You feed them, they get together. It's a social sort of thing, as well as the actual nitty-gritty of how to keep their bikes maintained perfectly. Okay, so this is where you make those connections, and this is where the future of your money making is built, because you're just continuing to become the person that they rely on for that information. And finally, we need to offer new products. I've just talked about offering like courses and one-day training, but you might only want to write books. So well, if you've built your email list and you've continued to nurture it, you've continued to send out information and push it out through all your social channels and that, when it comes time to release your next book, there's a couple of things involved here. The first is you can find out from feedback from people what it is they want to learn about, and you can write the book about that. Or you can write another book and actually just push it out to them, and you're going to have a whole pile of people who are going to pre-order, so that when your book's released, you've already sold 100 copies, 1,000 copies, however many it is. So you need to then offer those services, those books and services to people going forward, because this is where the ongoing money is. You've done the work, you've got the traffic, the person then has a lifetime value to you, whether it's just as a person who reads your books or whether it is as a person who does training and a whole pile of other stuff. It's up to you where you go with this, but I can tell you now that a $29 book can be worth $50,000 when you step people through a range of different offerings. And remember, this isn't about just selling to people. This is about helping them succeed in what it is that you're an expert in. No different to what I'm doing right now here, trying to help you learn a little bit more about how to sell your non-fiction books online. Okay, so let's revise. First step, focus. Absolutely essential. If you don't do this, you won't get where you want to go. Second one, attract people to a website. You can't sell if you don't have anyone coming. Third, you need to engage with them, capture them, put them in your email list, and build trust. Fourth, we need to convert them, make the sale, bonus up, get it out there, get those books sold. This is where your bread and butter is. And lastly, we need to educate them. This is where we build more lifetime value into the customers and continue to nurture our list. So if we release more products or books, we can sell them more easily rather than the hard way around. So look, now you've got a choice. If you don't want any help, you can make your own way from here. Please, if you follow that framework, I guarantee you will make really good headway. You've just got to apply it. If you would like me to be your guide, please stay on this video with me, and I'm going to take you through what I'd like to offer you now. Obviously, I learnt the hard way, because there was no one to teach me for many years, because I was on the web from the start. And you can continue to learn the hard way, or you can shortcut it by coming with me. I'm going to take you through 6 modules, so the 5 steps and one last module where we'll go back over and look at everything that you've done and what else you could be doing going forward, as well as all sorts of stuff. So let's have a look at what we're going to learn. Week 1 or module 1, we're going to go through and look at niches. We're going to look at picking keywords. We're going to go through how to do the basic SEO skills and how to optimize your website. We're going to cover all of that information, especially focusing in on your topic and carrying that through your website. Super, super important. Second step, we're going to find them, target them, and attract them. We're going to focus on a specific target audience. That's where we talked about, leadership, motivational leadership for women. That's a specific audience. Okay, we're going to look at writing our articles. How do we write our articles? What's a quick way to write our articles? How much content do we need? How to write the articles so people actually click on them in the search engines rather than just clicking past them. In other words, writing titles that are catchy for your articles so that people will click on them. Optimizing them so you get rewarded in the search engines, and how to deploy them across social media, etc., using SEO principles so that they rank and work for you. We're then going to capture, build, and trust and convert those people. So we're going to look about lead magnets. We're going to give some examples of lead magnets you can make. And we'll start off with some simple ones like the checklist, which is a really brilliant one and so easy to do. How to use the software like MailChimp to do these sorts of things. And why, as I said to you, it increased our trust levels, so our sales increased on site by 100,000%. That's just crazy. And what sort of content you can use to build trust quickly and easily. Week 4, converting and tracking. So writing sales copy, I'm going to run you through a simple sales letter process that you can apply easily to start off with. And you'll perfect that as you go forward and you'll adjust it, etc. But it will allow you to do it. I'm going to help you, stop shooting in the dark with that stuff, but just apply this formula that works. How to put Google Analytics on your site and how to read it and to see what traffic's there and how you review some of that content, just some basic analytics stuff so you can see where people are going, what keywords people are using, that sort of stuff, so you can make decisions. Week 5, we're going to teach them more. So we're going to look at curating content, where we can get content from. Some really great software tools that I use to save me time, but still keep me looking like the expert. In fact, it's really funny. Sometimes I see articles come out of my feed that have been, brought through on the software tools I use, and I go, gee, that sounds interesting. I click it and read it myself and thought, wow, that was a really good article. And in fact, I haven't even chosen it myself. The software has chosen the articles for me. So it makes me look like an expert to me, which is kind of scary, but funny at the same time. And looking at getting ahead of the crowd, thinking forward, into the future, where you're going with your authoring and you're selling your books, etc. And finally, going to go through some more tools that you can implement to save time, money. Look at a little bit more into sales copy and some of the tools and resources that I use to actually make sales copy writing a little bit easier. Remember, you are selling. That's the key thing here. You've got to sell if you want people to buy. They won't just buy randomly. You've got to make this. We're going to review what you've done, and we're going to show you how to rinse and repeat that. So I'm going to go through that and show you, this is a 5-step formula, but you keep going back and forwards through the process as time goes on. And if you were to write a new book about a completely different topic, you could take this same formula and reapply it. I've worked with lots of people over the last 20 years. Realistically, thousands and thousands of businesses, speakers, authors, entrepreneurs, everybody. As I said to you when I first started, my background is teaching. I teach. I hope that you've learned a lot just by sitting here today watching this video that you can apply. But you can imagine once I start drilling down in this, you're really going to get some great information. And my key thing is I don't like jargon. I try to stay away from it as much as possible and use the words that we use in day-to-day conversation so things make sense. I give 100% money back guarantee. If you do my course and you decide it's not for you or that it's just not what you wanted, I'll give you your money back. Okay? I'm fair. I don't ask for proof or anything like that. I trust you as another business person, as another author, to, try this out. And if you're not happy, if you think that what I'm saying is no good to you, then I'll give you your money back. But I honestly believe that if you take this and apply this, you will see results. So, I'm going to teach you how to apply the vs5 framework to sell more. I'm going to show you how to do each of the steps effectively. I'm going to take you through my favorite software sites, tools, and leverage and save time. I'm going to give you the hacks and shortcuts that will get you to the dollars faster. In other words, stop doing all the stuff that you don't need to do and concentrate on what you do need to do. We'll have a private Facebook group so we can connect and share resources, ask questions, and I can help you through there nice and easy. I generally find Facebook groups are the easiest because it's just everybody's already logged into it and it makes life much more simple. I'm going to run weekly video training so that you'll do each of these steps and you'll be able to watch that video training and work your way through it. I'm going to run regular live question and answer sessions, so it doesn't matter whether you start this course today or you start it in 6 weeks, you can just come in and ask questions based on where you are in the training course. So if you have a problem with step 1, you can ask a question. If you're having a problem with step 6, you can ask a question. I will go through and answer those questions. What I'll generally do is get you to flick them through to me beforehand, but alternatively, if necessary, we can just type them into the live training boxes and I will try and answer them. If I don't get to you straight away, I will get back to you through email or some other method afterwards. And lastly, I'll give you my direct help if you're really stuck. I don't mind spending 10 to 15 minutes having a quick look at something with you, and maybe longer if necessary, to sort out where your problem is, what you're stuck on with the course. I think that's important. As a teacher, my job's to help you succeed. It's not to, just dump this stuff on you and say, well, good luck to you. That's not what learning's about. Learning's about success, and I want you to make a success of this. Thank you very much. If you click the link below, you'll be able to go to sell1000books.com, which is where the sales page is for this course. And if you go through, and I will look forward to working with you on the other end. I'm Brad Houck, Mr. Web Marketing. I look forward to seeing you soon.